Hey, I'm Megan McNamara and I'm a certified fertility awareness educator. If you're in the process right now of researching fertility awareness to see if it might be a good option for you as highly effective natural birth control, then you really need to know about the number one prerequisite for practicing fertility awareness that most people don't often talk about, yet is critically important to do so safely. So please hear me on this, it's really important. Fertility awareness is likely not going to be a safe option for you if your sex partner is in any way physically, mentally, emotionally, or sexually abusive or manipulative toward you, or doesn't honor or make you feel safe when it comes to intimacy and sex. Although I am a certified fertility awareness educator and I'm here to teach people about birth control, I am not in any way a licensed therapist, doctor, or professional advisor when it comes to intimate partner abuse or violence. But we are going to touch a bit today on steps that you may want to take and what you can do to cultivate a safer and really positive fertility awareness charting experience with your partner. So the biggest concern with this prerequisite is the risk of what's called reproductive coercion. Reproductive coercion is related to behavior that interferes with contraception use and pregnancy. The most common forms of reproductive coercion include sabotage of contraceptive use, SA, pregnancy coercion, and pregnancy pressure. So what to do? I've put some free resources in the description of this video to connect you with experts like Gavin DeBecker, Dr. Ramani, and the National Domestic Violence Hotline, where you can go learn more and seek more support from professionals and organizations that are meant to help you with this exact type of thing. If you're in a situation where it's not possible or safe for you to leave, then you may want to consider opting for other forms of birth control that are highly effective and that you do have 100% control over. So things like a hormonal IUD, a copper IUD, or even an implant that would go in your arm. Now, while I don't normally recommend these types of birth control for long-term use because of the laundry list of harmful side effects that they can have, you can evaluate, of course, with your doctor to see what the best choice is for you so you can stay as protected as possible and avoid unintended pregnancy, at least for the time being, until you are able to safely escape your abuser and this abusive situation. Please seek help and support from a trustworthy group of people in your social network and by reaching out to these professional resources and organizations that are there and they're designed to help you and to be there for you. And this part is also really important, but please consider making a plan to safely exit this abusive situation as soon as possible. Statistically, I do have to warn you that the highest risk to the victim is when they try to leave the relationship for good, typically within the several weeks surrounding that event. So creating a detailed safety plan of escape is really important. Leaving is not easy, and I'm not going to pretend that it is or sugarcoat that. So it may take several months or even up to a year to create an effective safety plan for you to exit the situation, but you deserve it. You deserve to live your life free of any type of abuse, especially from an intimate partner who you should be able to feel safe with and be able to trust fully. So I want to talk about what you can do and what to look for to help cultivate a really safe and positive experience when it comes to fam charting. If you are looking to practice FAM for birth control that is highly effective, you do really need to be on the same page as your sex partner, whether that's for the short term or within the context of a long-term committed relationship. For your FAM practice to work for you safely and for you to effectively avoid pregnancy successfully, you need and deserve to have a sexual partner that feels respectful, safe, trusting, and you feel free and open to communicate with them honestly about sex and related topics that we'll get into next. You need to be able to talk about things like charting and the learning process. You need to also be able to talk about the different types of sex that you are open to having at different phases in the cycle. For example, when you're in your fertile ovulatory phase, the type of sex that you're going to have at that point in time will really most likely differ from what you'll be having during your infertile days when getting pregnant isn't physiologically possible. So before ovulation is confirmed, when you're still considered fertile, you need to decide for yourself and have the discussion with your partner about what will be the safest route for you both so that you both feel confident and comfortable. Typically, the FAM instruction is to totally abstain from any PIV sex. I'm a big advocate for just opting for non-PIV sex because so long as there's no cross-contamination of semen, that is a way to have sex that is really intimate and engaging where there's no risk of pregnancy. Another option is to completely rely on correct use of other barrier methods and even pairing those and combining them with something else like withdrawal. Withdrawal is something that can be layered on to the use of any other barrier method just to increase the efficacy overall because they're adding in another layer of protection that is typically, relatively easy. It should be known that if you're doing so, your efficacy is then going to default down to whatever the correct use efficacy is of that chosen barrier method or combination of methods. For example, utilizing the fertility awareness method, according to the instructions, you can get up to 99.6% efficacy with pregnancy avoidance, which is incredibly high for something that has no side effects or barriers. If you do want to utilize something like condoms or condoms plus withdrawal during the fertile window, some people do choose to do that as well, but then their efficacy does default down a little bit lower. Versus when you're infertile for the rest of your cycle, you may be open to having other types of sex, including even unprotected sex. Obviously, so long as you and your partner have both been tested and vetted for STIs, and you're clear on that, then you should be able to go ahead with unprotected sex, of course, if you only feel comfortable. It's also really important to be able to talk about topics like consent, as well as your needs, boundaries, and preferences about sex, because those are so subject to change just based on what's going on emotionally, what's going on throughout the different points in the cycle as your fertility status is changing. It's really important to be clear and never make assumptions. This communication is especially important when you're just starting up with FAM. That's a time when you're learning so much, and it's really important to have that element of patience and understanding and emotional support, because for a lot of people, especially if you are coming off of something like hormonal birth control, that already is a time of hormonal transition, and having someone who's there for you to hear you and talk about FAM with you and support you on the transition can be so valuable. Practicing fertility awareness, whether it's in the context of a short-term relationship or a long-term committed relationship, no matter where you're at with that, timing-wise, it always, always, always needs to be based on a sense of trust, safety, clear and effective communication, never miscommunications or assumptions. It's really important with FAM to be clear and openly communicate about these different topics. The reason is that you need to be able to rely on your partner to honor those clearly communicated boundaries and preferences about the different types of sex that you can have at different points in the cycle. I'd love to wrap up today's video by inviting you to please share your experiences and thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I read all my comments and I love hearing from you. I really would love to have a discussion about this topic because I do feel like it's so underrated and doesn't get a lot of attention. I think it's really important to talk about because people do need to know about it as part of their informed choice when they're deciding whether or not they want to practice fertility awareness. If you're ready to learn how to accurately chart your cycle for health or highly effective natural birth control with a certified fertility awareness educator, please schedule a one-on-one connection call with me to learn about my online course and virtual support that's unlimited via the first link in the video description below. If you'd like to see more videos about the paradigm shift of fertility awareness and everything that goes along with it, please go ahead and just tap the subscribe button on your screen. To help more people see this video, please like the video and share it with someone who you know could benefit from this information. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.